Hi, this is Jeanine Jue and Yujing Wu from Samsung ARTIK Cloud, and welcome to our webinar, which will talk about opportunities in IoT. So let's get started. First, I'm just going to give you a brief intro of ARTIK Cloud, key opportunities, some business opportunities, what the future holds, as well as developer tools and solutions. So more about me. I've been an engineer for over 17 years. I have a master's degree in computer science. I'm actually a tech mentor for a few startups here in the Bay Area, and I'm really passionate about helping the IoT community and being successful in building out innovative solutions. Yujing Wu, she has a PhD in computer science from UMass Amherst, and she's our tech lead on the evangelism team at Samsung ARTIK Cloud. So Samsung ARTIK Cloud is an open data exchange platform for IoT, meaning that you can connect any device, any cloud service to ARTIK Cloud and create these smart interactions between them. Now, after this webinar, we'll go through in more detail the capabilities as well as the APIs and the SDKs that we offer as well. One of the key opportunities in IoT, so this is the top one, is of course developers. Developers will play a huge role in defining the ecosystem, and they're needed to take existing devices and services to build out new innovative solutions. So look at the number of connected devices, right? You hear 50 billion according to this statistics, and then you hear 25 billion connected devices in 2020, then you hear 75 billion. Then actually last week I went to a conference, I now hear 30 billion. So in order to decide this number in terms of what it'll be, what is going to play a key factor in determining what that number is the number of developers, right? Right now we have, we probably have about 2 million IoT developers. But in order to reach that goal of 50 billion connected devices, we'll need at least 10 million. So the way we're growing here, it's probably not going to hit 50 billion, but again, we need more developers to get into the space. So there are challenges for developers to get into the IoT space. You have the ecosystem. What platform are we going to use? The hardware, software. Now, you're not just programming just on the software side. You need to worry about the hardware as well. Security, and making sure that you secure your device, making sure you write secure code, as well as continuous delivery. That's really important. So you cannot just deploy an app and then you're done, or deploy a device, then you're done. Like back in the days, you would just deploy an app, and then a year later, you're like, oh, let's add new features to it. No, it's constantly, you need to update the firmware, every 4 weeks or so. You may have to, deploy patches. So there's a lot of work involved there. And also building solutions to conserve battery life and to minimize, having to use so much bandwidth and the connectivity. Also data, artificial intelligence. Now with all these IoT devices, we have all this data. Now we have to do something with it, and that's where artificial intelligence comes into play. So there are a lot of things that IoT developers need to worry about, and so it does make it a little bit more challenging. Interoperability. Interoperability between IoT systems is critical. So of the total potential economic value the IoT enables, interoperability is required for 40% on average and for nearly 60% in some settings. So think about it. You have your Wemo switch, your Philips Hue light bulb, your Nest thermostat. It's really important for these devices to interact with other devices because think about it, they become more powerful. Think about the Alexa, just standalone, not connected to anything. That would really be boring. So I'm going to take a look at some of the IoT areas of growth. We have smart home, digital health, smart cities, wearables, industrial, and agricultural technology. So I'm going to talk about some of them, and I'm also going to briefly talk about smart retail. So IoT is still, interestingly enough, in its infancy. the areas of growth in IoT, whether you're a device maker or IoT developer, for each of the verticals, there are still plenty of opportunities. And some verticals are easier than others. So let's take a look at smart homes, for example. Smart home space actually has the most growth and expansion. There's about 256 companies and startups, and there's about startup funding over 2.5 billion. Of course, Samsung, Belkin, Philips are, key players in the smart home space. But when building out a solution for smart homes, it's so important to focus on the consumer and how they buy. So a consumer, they will buy stuff to solve one problem. Like, for example, I didn't want my packages to get stolen. I had a problem, so I bought a Ring doorbell in order for me to track it. So you don't have to have all these, different pieces of functionality within it. The most important thing, keep it simple and keep it to such a small portion of just solving one problem, because that one problem can actually gain a lot of traction. Ring was able to gain a lot of traction within a short period of time because it solved one problem. Now, so thinking about also services that you could build in the smart home space. So they say IoT services are the real driver of value in IoT. So if you're not a device maker and you want to build out services, there's still a lot of space for growth there as well. Let's say you have a Samsung smart fridge and you sell the product and that's it. You get your money and that's it. So what can you do in order to monetize that product even more? And that's where the services come in. So it's important to open up the platform and open up the API to developers, charge on the API, but also these services that Ring has already built out, as well as Nest cameras. They have services where you pay $100 a year for Nest if you want to watch like 7 days of your video recording. So it'll save some of the video recording and stuff. And Ring has a similar program, a little bit less money, where it gives you the opportunity to just store some of the motion detections in front. But again, those are just a few of like so many opportunities in smart homes where you can actually monetize for services. Now this is really exciting, the wearables. I love this. Carnival recently introduced this medallion, this wearable. You can wear it on your wrist, you can wear it around your neck, and it does everything. Down to, you can use it to pay for a drink. You can use it to actually swipe the door to open your room. You could just use your medallion there. You can order a drink and then go running around the ship, and they will actually find you in order to give you your drink. So it really is powerful. And I loved what the Chief Innovation Officer said. We recognize each guest is different and the things that make them happy are different. So in order for them to do this, they had to add 7,000 sensors and a cloud network combined with artificial intelligence. And it's constantly gathering and processing the data for each passenger. And the cool thing what they can do with this data, they can create this standard experience. They can look at habits where, okay, well, when they go in their room, they turn on this particular light. So they can create that standard experience by taking just a calculation, a summary of the data based on that, and just here are the steps. This is what they do when they walk in, and then build off of that standard experience to personalize it even more. And with this data, even for repeat customers, when they come back, they'll be able to be offered their favorite wine, or this can also be used for targeted advertising. But what's really great about this is that minimize action, maximize automation, and it personalizes the action. Such a great wearable. In the smart cars space, Peugeot has partnered with Samsung ARTIK Cloud to include a functional onboard IoT cloud in its car design. So Samsung ARTIK is now part of this car's DNA. So you can set the car's active cruise control to keep moving at a steady pace as you drive to work. You can enjoy the pre-configured settings for seat position, temperature, entertainment system, and other comfort features. When you arrive, The car suggests you park a 10-minute walk from your office because you also have your fitness tracker connected to ARTIK Cloud, stating that you didn't get that much exercise. Now we have the Internet of Cows. They're actually connecting cows to clouds. And this is great. I never knew that sensors, they have sensors now that can track if a cow is running a fever or is not eaten in 48 hours. But this startup is a service. So what they did, it actually started in Brazil. Grocery stores had to keep track of their farmers in terms of the quality of the meat and the dairy. In order to do that, you needed to track the cows. So Bove Control built out the solution for farmers where they can upload the cow data, or if the cows have sensors on them, you can upload that data as well. So you can upload that data and create these great reports to provide to the government to make sure they're in compliance. So the Internet of Cows is actually going to be a hackathon this weekend because they are opening up their platform to connect different cow devices and, get that data and create these amazing reports. Now in the digital health space, you're seeing a shift from devices to services. Again, similar to smart home. So if you have a wearable, let's say it's a consumer one or a hospital one, and it generates data, which of course is real time, and then are also biomarkers for that particular disease. So you need to define the biomarkers based on the disease in order to monitor the progress. Then you take that data as well as the biomarkers and create new solutions, visualization tools, insights. So with this visual diagnosis, you can use predictive analytics and see where the patient is improving in their diagnosis. Pretty amazing. But in digital health space, it's really important in some cases, depending on where your interest is, to keep it consumer focused, because it seems like, and this is just based on trends that we see, that companies, investors bet on the value-based care and consumer-centric healthcare. So they're looking more at, consumers buying these health wearables, because now consumers want to pretty much take charge of their own health. It's all about preventative digital health now. And in order for them to do this, they'll need these devices so they can track their health. Let's take a look at industrial IoT. If you went to bed last night as an industrial company, you're going to wake up this morning as a software and analytics company. The GE chairman and CEO said this. And with increasing production and efficiency in manufacturing, you need to take a look at the data and monitor that data and have predictive analytics in order to save money. Right now, what GE is doing is helping customers drive higher operational efficiencies, predictive maintenance, and diagnostics that can reduce downtime and synchronize fleet management applications. Ethan was one of our hackathon winners. He built out the solution to use a chatbot to monitor your machines in the factory and be able to quickly identify the problems by building a knowledge base. So it was really cool. You could type in, what is the status of your system? And then the system will respond saying there's a chance of overheating, and then command it to run diagnostic tests. And, you get that information back. Then it could give you a recommendation in terms of what to do to fix the problem. But at the same time, you can override that solution and say, no, just reboot. Don't set to default configuration, right? So there's still gives you the opportunity to make some changes. Smart retail, focusing on groceries right now. For predictive equipment maintenance, there is smart retail out there. There's a lot of traction in retail. There's actually a retail IoT conference a few months ago. Now, these are really helpful to have predictive equipment maintenance for, to check the power consumption for savings or monitor temperature fluctuation to ensure food safety. And there are IoT apps such as, smart transportation applications to track the routes of the trucks to make sure that you get your pallet of merchandise, at a given store at a certain time. So there's IoT solutions for that. And also plenty of solutions underway to customize the whole in-store experience. So we have smart cities. Smart cities is a little challenging to actually deploy anything into smart cities. That's why for smart cities, it might be easier to do consumer-based applications. But Telensa was successful in building out smart city control applications, including street light solutions, and they received $18 million in funding. That think about in terms of smart cities, ways of creating a safer community. The IoT is still in the early stages there. And if you take a look at this hackathon winner from another hackathon we attended, they actually built out a solution to make the consumer safer on the streets when playing Pokemon. For example, if they had a couple of sensors attached to them to let them know if they were going to walk into a pole or something. But again, that's protecting the consumer. Vision Mobile published this slide. Value is created by making sense of data. So you have connected devices, you have the data, you create the knowledge, and then take an action. Love it. So let's say in the smart city, you have sensors embedded in a road service. So that data can help you find a parking spot. In the action, park quickly without frustration. Smart home, connected lock. Detect when I come home. Disarm the alarm when I unlock the door. Smart cars. Bluetooth dongle reading vehicle data. Detect collisions. Automatically call emergency services. But you can actually go beyond that and create new services. So for smart car, let's say I want to partner up with auto insurance companies. And so based on the number of collisions, let's say somebody's a really bad driver, then I'll be able to get some quotes from other auto insurance companies because I might lose my auto insurance or something. So provide me with quotes on that as well. So again, you can create additional services, based off of this data. Now, in terms of the future of IoT, developers, they will drive the IoT ecosystem. They will highly influence it, I believe, developers to the rescue in terms of making sure there are 50 billion connected devices in 2020. It stated that, a lot of software, and I didn't get into too much of the transportation side, but there was a lot of software development opportunities in transportation and building out solutions for that. You'll see a business model shift from product to service. And Gartner also predicts that more than half of new major business processes and systems will possess some element of the Internet of Things by 2020. Okay, let's take a look at some developer tools and resources. So Samsung ARTIK Cloud is an open data exchange platform for IoT. We're API first, we're fully integrated, and we're fully interoperable, meaning you can connect any device, any cloud service. We have APIs and SDKs. We have about 10 flavors of SDKs and an API console where you can actually see the APIs in action. And we also have a device simulator as well as a self-service developer portal. So the vision going to interoperability, enable devices to interoperate with other devices and enable developers to build a new class of IoT applications. So going back to the interoperability, those smart interactions, devices of different manufacturers all working together. I mean, it really does add a lot of value. You can connect with many devices in many ways. You communicate with physical devices through REST, WebSockets, MQTT, and CoAP. You can also communicate with device clouds, which we refer to as cloud connectors. And you can secure every interaction. ARTIK Cloud supports secure device registration for communicating securely to devices. But more specifically, ARTIK Cloud ensures the following: that the device is genuine, the device owner has the device in hand, every message exchanged between the device and ARTIK Cloud is verified, and we use TLS with mutual client-server authentication, where a client key is usually protected by hardware, such as the embedded secure element found in ARTIK modules. Our rules engine is like if then this that on steroids. You can connect many to many and create incredible interactions between devices and services. For our upcoming Future of IoT meetups, we have our focus groups on April 19th, as well as our startup office hours. So feel free to come by. May 3rd, We have a webinar on the power of ARTIK Cloud's cloud connectors. May 24th, we have a webinar for artificial intelligence and IoT. We'll also introduce some artificial intelligence APIs. June 14th, we're excited about our guest speaker from Flex Home Assistance. He will talk about Home 2.0, the impact of home assistance on the connected smart home landscape. So please register for these events on our meetup page. If you have any recommendations for upcoming events, or if you're interested in giving a talk about your IoT startup or company, feel free to email me at j.jue@samsung.com. And thank you so much for attending. Again, any questions you can send to our developer evangelist team, developer@artik.cloud. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you.